KOZN, Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs.
Friday, the final day of the week. These are the voyages of the program Unsportsmanlike Conduct. Its ongoing mission to explore strange new movies, to seek out new bits and new edifications, to boldly go where no radio program has gone before. Elkant's Movie Club. It's Elkant's Movie Club. Elkant's Movie Club. It's Elkant's Movie Club.
Now, young Nicholas, are we going to be able to pry you away from this scintillating Formula One practice to join us in this conversation today?
I'm getting a lot out of it, but also I can just see it in my screen. So
yeah, I can see
it.
It's copyright violation right now.
It's literally practice. I mean,
I'm learning a lot from this, John.
Why? The sound is off. You can't even hear it.
Look at the lap times. The fastest race lap time at this track was in 2019,
all right.
and it's 1:36.
All right. We're not doing this.
We're not
we
doing
finally
this.
had a Nick movie that wasn't a racing movie. We can't talk about racing today.
Hi, Kent.
Hey, Kent.
Hello. We're talking about practice.
We're talking about practice,
Exactly,
man.
Alan Iverson. We're talking about practice.
Hey, Kent, before we get to Milkshake or Gunpowder Milkshake, have you seen Dune yet?
Yes.
Oh.
That reaction was a little lukewarm.
Yeah, I'm kind of a little lukewarm.
Yeah. All right.
I mean, it's not terrible. I liked it better than the David Lynch one of however many million years ago.
35, I think.
Was
yeah.
that in the 80s?
I think 1984 or 85.
yeah.
Dang. Wow.
But it's, truthfully, the problem, my biggest issue with it is it's half the book. It's 2 hours and 40 minutes, and it's half of the story.
Oh, so they don't tell the whole story.
No. So you got another 2.5 hours coming later, I guess.
Oh.
Dune 2.
More Duning.
More Dune.
I've never read the book. One of my best friends has. My best friend, he really liked it. He plans on seeing the movie. I didn't realize they were splitting it up.
I didn't either.
Yeah. And like I say, maybe if you see the whole thing all together, or could see half of it one day and half of it the next, it might really work. But I don't like these movies. I don't dislike them, but this is not my preference.
Sure.
You know?
Sure.
Like, give me the whole story. Don't make me come back for a second half.
Because the original was the whole story.
Right.
Yeah, I thought so.
Was Harry Potter what started this trend of getting what should have been a story and then just splitting it up into two separate movies? Or was that Hunger Games? Was it one of those?
No, I think Harry Potter did it first.
I think Harry did it first. Yep.
It's annoying.
Yeah, they did that for that. They did it for Hunger Games. And Hunger Games, I mean, it's a pretty small book. They did not.
Hunger Games, they overcooked that a ways.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
they sure did.
Yeah.
Well, you don't cook a milkshake. That's
Nice.
a really bad transition, but
It was bad.
the movie surprisingly wasn't as bad. Gunpowder Milkshake. It's a stream only on Netflix. Nick,
Yes.
explain this. Explain yourself.
Explain yourself, Nick.
How? There's a group of dudes called the Firm, and they control everything because they do. And they have women, I guess, who know how to shoot guns real good.
Yep.
And they hire these women to take out people who are problems to the Firm. And then one of the women messes up and then leaves her daughter to also start working for the Firm. Then the daughter messes up, and then she's trying to kill this guy, but this guy only stole money from the Firm to save his daughter from these other guys who also might have been working with the Firm.
It's a very seedy underworld, yes.
It's a very seedy underworld, but then she ends up rescuing this girl and then basically taking this 8 3/4-year-old girl in to the
8 3/4. Good call, Nick.
8 3/4.
And off to the races we go.
And off to the races
That's
we
it.
go.
It's a lot of shooting, a lot of violence.
Yes.
A lot of colors.
Definitely a violent film.
Can I read, Kent, the text that you sent me about it yesterday?
Absolutely.
Okay, because Ken asked me on Wednesday. He said, "What's the movie? I forgot to write it, or I wrote it down, but I threw it away." And so I told him, and he said, yep, I'll be watching The Masterpiece tomorrow. So this was Wednesday. So then yesterday, right before the show started, he said, well, this is roiling heap of ridiculous candy-colored, ultra-violent dog crap that is somehow inadvertently entertaining. And so I read that text to John and Nick, and I started, okay, I'm pretty excited. I sat down for this movie. Kent, the way you described it, the candy-colored, ultra-violent, that is a great way to put it. And that is, I think, the thing that is going to stick with me the longest. I mean, yeah, it's very, very violent, but I love the color palette. I love how bright and like all of the signs for places were neon, and the color of that would reflect off of the vehicles or off of the people. And so I don't know what you think of this comparison. I kind of thought that it was like a cousin to like a Quentin Tarantino movie if he was like a 25-year-old person now coming up in the world of, a lot of jokes, a lot of violence, and a specific kind of color palette, in a way like Kill Bill to a degree. I really liked it though.
There is that. The other thing this is, and when I sent it about 20, 25 minutes into it, when the dialogue was pretty early dialogue in this thing is pretty rough, but it does kind of pick up. It's part John Wick knockoff.
Yeah.
It's part Matrix knockoff. It's part theme music wise, Ennio Morricone, especially in that when she's beating up the three guys in the
bowling
alley.
That was such a great scene.
And Ennio Morricone, if he was still alive, could sue. That was so derivative of his. And then you have all the various Chinese martial arts movies that it kind of tried to steal from. And for me, it didn't entirely come together until 30 minutes maybe into the movie, maybe a little more than that. And I think it was actually when the little girl showed up.
Yeah.
Because that gave it a little more something that wasn't just derivative. But it was still, like I say, even early on, entertaining for all those reasons.
I understand the point you're making, Josh, about what the movie reminded you of. To me, it's a lot in the same vein of Machete. Robert Rodriguez,
which I need to. I've still never seen it.
Which it's over the top violence.
Yep.
A lot of slow motion killing. The main character. Now the difference is Machete was Danny Trejo, a man, but all the ass kickers in this movie are women. All of them
by design.
And it is by design. Karen Gillan plays the main character of Sam. But you'll recognize her mother, Lena Headey, who played Queen Cersei on Game of Thrones. But also, you get to the library, and you have Carla Gugino, Angela Bassett, and Michelle? Is it Yeoh? Yeah, and they're fun.
Paul Giamatti shows up.
Paul Giamatti's in it. He's kind of playing the main bad guy. But to me, the movie took off when they went to the library.
That's where I'm with you, John.
And that's when you bring the women in, and then there's this huge fight scene going on in the library, and everybody's involved. It's a battle royal.
When they gave her the books, and they're like, you need this book, and then an Agatha Christie novel? She's like, well, because you got to read. Like that was a very well played and pretty funny scene, and kind of how they explained everything. Yeah, that was for me, John. I agree. That the bowling alley, I was sitting there like, okay. This is pretty fun. I could watch this again.
And the final fight scene, scene, that's the best one.
It was so cool.
Yeah.
I liked all the book jokes.
The book jokes were funny.
Even during the fight in the library when all those dudes came, like every book had what was inside of it was associated with the title in some type of way.
Basically, these books, this is where they hide their weapons
or money,
and money. And when you open the book, it's either a gun or a knife or money or their gold bars.
A block of gold.
A block of gold, which was used as a weapon, by the way.
Very, very well.
I liked the concept of the bowling alley fight, but I didn't like the way it was executed.
Really?
It seems sped up, like ridiculously sped up. And I don't know if that was on purpose, but it's like they filmed it and then it was noticeable that they just fast forwarded it like ×2 in the editing process.
So the way that Josh listens to his podcast.
Yeah, but like with the fight scene, but they didn't do that, or I didn't notice that with any other fight scene in the movie. It was just specifically the bowling alley one.
I enjoyed it though. I thought it was funny.
And my thought on that was it was kind of making fun of the Chinese ones that are really slow. Right?
Yes.
Direct opposite of that.
Yeah, going in the reverse direction.
That was at least my theory, because this movie seemed to me in a way to be a homage to all these other movies, right?
I agree.
But with a feminist twist on it.
Absolutely.
You know? And in a way you think, oh, you wasted. I think Angela Bassett's one of the great actresses of our time. And in a way, she's kind of wasted, right? She's in it for 10 minutes total. If you added up her screen time. But there's a reason that having Angela Bassett made it better in that other sense, right? Because of who Angela Bassett is. And that last scene in the diner that may have been the best scene in the whole picture.
Yes.
For the way it was conceived, right? Because it how do you want to put this? And I'm talking from the time she walks in, to seeing these guys till the thing ends, was very well conceived scene. And something tells me that might have been the first thing that was conceived once they had the general idea for the movie, the general outline. That's what they came up with, and then built everything backwards.
That would make some sense, because it was. I would watch a documentary on how just that scene was done.
Yeah,
it was so good
because it was really fun.
The director, whose name I can't remember, is an Israeli filmmaker who has made some very good, more serious dramas, and I think this was his chance to make a Tarantino movie, or however you want to put it.
I'm going to probably slaughter the name, but Navot Papuchado. Navot Papuchado. I can't even say it.
Well, he's from Israel.
Yes. And he also co-wrote the movie, but he directed and co-wrote it.
And I'm an idiot, Kent. I just realized that Karen Gillan, the star of this movie, she's Nebula from the MCU. From Guardians of the Galaxy, because I was I was like, she's familiar, and I hadn't gone to.
I was getting a vibe
until now,
And also, if you ever watch Doctor Who, she was a recurring character on the English sci-fi show Doctor Who.
Okay, yeah, she was the primary companion. This is Wikipedia to the 11th Doctor on Doctor Who.
Okay,
she was awesome.
She was. I thought she was really good.
Yeah, and I thought going in, just when Nick chose it last week, we all were just kind of looking, okay, what is this movie? I saw Lena Headey, and so I thought she was going to be the main star. And then when she disappeared early, I was like, okay, that was just marketing to kind of get some of us in. But I really liked her character too. And when she ended up coming back about halfway through.
The women playing off of each other. You mentioned Angela Bassett. She's kind of going back and forth with Lena Headey. That was good. I thought the playoff between the daughter and the mother was good. And I can't think of a movie where Paul Giamatti wasn't good in it, where he didn't have some heft, and I thought he did.
Yeah, I thought he did a good job.
I really liked. Oh, sorry, Ken.
I just thought of one more knockoff is The Professional, where you have the hitman in Jean Reno, looking after the little girl who was Natalie Portman. This takes that, makes it feminist, makes it female, and has the main character looking after another little girl. And that little girl was great.
Yeah, she was.
She was great.
Yeah. Yeah, and I had one more movie too, Kent, that it reminded me of, and this is the one that I was trying to remember earlier. Wanted, which was a James McAvoy, Morgan Freeman, Angelina Jolie movie about almost 15 years ago. Just kind of stylistically, how it was shot, some of the slow motion use of weaponry, etc.
Also, Sucker Punch. That's another vibe I was getting from this movie too.
It also reminded me of Cinderella. A lot of Cinderella.
So
Seriously, we've mentioned like 8
I know,
different
we've
movies
done
that
a lot
it
of
reminds us of, but it's obvious that this director and the writer was, they were pulling from all of these different things.
And I know some of the writing dialogue early on was a bit sketchy, but I loved how straight they played a lot of that, because they had to have known how over the top and ridiculous some of those lines were, but they delivered them so perfectly. Like, hey, I'm sorry I shot your dad, just casually to this 8 3/4-year-old girl.
Mhm.
It was the way some of it was just delivered.
And it's important to know that this is a movie where you don't want to ever take it seriously, right?
Mhm.
If you try to take this as some kind of serious movie, you're done, right?
And that's why I bring up Machete. Machete, you didn't take that seriously. You knew what you were getting into. It was going to be gratuitous violence and cheeky humor, and that's what this was.
So surprising. Truthfully, surprisingly entertaining to me.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that, because I'm looking at Rotten Tomatoes, only 58%, and the audience score was 48%.
Wow,
Yet
that's
all 4 of us liked it.
Yeah, I would have figured that the audience would have really enjoyed it.
But if you go in thinking you're watching a kind of a serious movie, you're going to hate it.
Yeah.
Right? You've got to say, okay, I get it. This is not real, right? This is a homage / almost comedy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's been a lot of movies, where we've taken traditional male roles and feminized them, right? And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. This one, it works. It works great.
Oh, yeah.
You believe that all of these women are really good at what they do. And again, I go back to the library. You walk into this library and you have these 3 women who look like librarians. They look like they belong in a library, and they end up being some real ass kissers and kickers, not kissers. And it works. It works. But you're right, Kent. I think if you go into this thinking it's serious, you're going to be very disappointed.
Well, I'm happy we all liked it.
Yeah.
Well, screw you, Rotten Tomatoes. What do you?
Yeah, we liked it.
It is streaming on Netflix. Gunpowder Milkshake.
My turn.
So it's your turn.
So I got a text this week from our good friend of the program, Mike Schaefer. He asked me if I had seen a movie, and I had responded, I had never seen this movie. Was it available for streaming? And he said, yes, it's on HBO Max. Which I said, oh, interesting. And he says, I think it'd be a good pick for the movie club. So this is kind of a Schaefer pick, but I'm going to pick it myself. 1 Hour Photo, starring Robin Williams, I believe from 1997. I've never seen this movie. Was this one of the first movies, Kent, that he did in a dramatic role that kind of started showing some of those dramatic chops?
First or second one. Yeah, early on. And he, not giving a thing away, he's the manager of one of those old photo booths where you drop off your film. And he has some issues, let's just say. Lots of issues.
I think I know this movie.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think I genuinely know this movie.
All right, so 1 Hour Photo.
So
available on HBO Max.
I've not seen it yet, so that'll be good.
All right, awesome.
Streaming on HBO Max. It's not the same photomat that gets run over by the Libyans in Back to the Future, is it?
I don't think so, but that was in the 80s, and this is a 90s movie, so maybe it is.
I never visited one of those photomats. If we got our pictures, we took them to Walgreens.
Walgreens, yeah. That's what my family did, too.
Yeah, they didn't have such thing in the giant metropolis of Curtis.
Back home, we had to
I was going to say, you probably had to develop your own photos or buy
mail it in. Had to send it somewhere in the mail.
Oh. Well, we'll get our Christmas photos back in time for Easter.
We had to take ours to our pharmacy back home, and I have no idea what they did with them, but we always got pictures. But I never saw any kind of developing machine.
Well, it was a dark room.
They keep it in the back. It's it's got to be a dark room.
Oh, next
do you not know about photo developing?
Where the little elves.
No, I've never had to.
Where the little elves work.
Oh, the elves.
Yeah,
one of my uncles, he's a farmer, but he loves photography, and so in their basement he had a dark room. And so when we go there for like holidays, I learned about like developing photography and how it worked. You put it in it's not water, but whatever it is, and then you hang it up. So yeah, exactly.
Nice.
Yeah, we y'all didn't ever go to print journalism school. We had to learn how to develop film and print pictures and all that stuff. I was not my forte.
Which is why Kent has photographers work for him. Well, no game this week, so we don't have to worry about the Huskers losing. We don't have to worry about anyone being right or wrong.
I was going to pick by 21, Nebraska 17.
By 21, Nebraska 17. Evil Kent, what do you think? Nebraska versus the bye week.
Where did Evil Kent go? There it is.
I could see 52-38 or something like that. Probably Nebraska.
All right, good. So Nebraska beats the bye week by a couple scores.
He said probably, though.
Probably.
But defense struggles against air resistance, so that's not good. Kent, have a great weekend. Thanks again, and we'll look forward to 1 hour photo next week.
Sounds good. See you
All
guys.
right. Kent Wolgamott of the Lincoln Journal-Star.
Kendall tweets in, great oldie in 1 hour photo. Can't wait till next week. There you go.
Oh, good. I'm
There
looking
you go.
forward to it.
Uh-huh.
That is your movie club. Still to come, Coach Greg McDermott's going to join us in on the happy hour. We've got predictions. I have good news for you two. Oh. The great one, Mr. Wonderful, the king of Sting. He had a bad week last week in predictions. So you guys might.
Did you
have
just
an
give
opportunity.
yourself like 3 nicknames?
Oh, yeah. King of Sting,
Is that Ric Flair?
the Master of Disaster,
Mr. Wonderful.
the Count of Monte Fisto. These are all of Apollo Creed's nicknames.
Oh, Apollo Creed. Okay.
Remember that scene where they just give all these
So
nicknames?
you're comparing yourself to Apollo Creed.
I'm the Apollo Creed of predictions. Except I don't get
I
killed
was
by a
going to say,
Russian.
who's the Russian that's going to
I
come murder
don't
you?
get killed by a
Hi,
Russian.
comrade.
Oh, Chance.
Yeah. But we'll find out how much ground you all gained on me
Okay.
coming up in predictions on 1620 The Zone. John Bishop here for Radon Defense Midwest. You know, radon is everywhere, and everyone needs to know